There's this quirky little book that I love called The Garden of Thoughts. And in it, its author, Dodansky, writes, "I believe that wherever dreams live, the heart calls home. So untangle yourself from the twist of your melancholy and let your thoughts carry you back to the birthplace of your truth." And Ladan dreamed here with us for a while. This place was home to her dreams, the birthplace of her truth. And she has always been a truth teller. As I remember it, her poetry as an undergrad was an excavation of home and exile, belonging and unbelonging. When she was a student here, Ladan wrote the body, the skin, the self. She wrote about ethnicity, gender, culture. She wrote about father, mother, siblings, boyfriend. I have always loved how material and sensual the poems are, how she makes me see the colors and textures of book spines on a shelf like women bent in prayer, or peppers softening in a well-greased pan, or a bug bumping against my lip. Her poems have always made me want to shout kind of exuberantly like a kid making a discovery. I can see that. I can feel that. I have always loved how her poems turn questions into pivots or even razors. Questions like, is our love water I can't drink? Or, what is the slave's poem? Or, if this poet is white in third world countries, what am I here? I've always loved the I of her poems. Complex, brave, vulnerable, anarchic. The I that I encounter again in this stanza from a poem called Shadow. Walk as God intended, straight, even, not prostrating, a shadow, and not too proud. I have the complex that my father warned against. I read her work and she takes me home, back to my own dreams, back to my own birthplace of truth. Ladan dreamed here for a while. She learned here, wrote here. I like to imagine there's this little parallel universe where she and I are still huddled over her poems in my office that's now Jeremy's. You know, the sunlight is streaming through the window, and she's sitting in the comfy chair. I still have the comfy chair. Legs tucked up underneath her. She has traveled great distances since then. To an MFA at the University of Texas at Austin, to Chicago where she became a teacher, to publications in prestigious literary magazines like Narrative Magazine and Artful Dodge, to her first book, The Kitchen Dweller's Testimony, which won the 2014 Silverman Prize. She has made new homes. But she still belongs here. She always has a home here. And I am so happy, I'm always so happy to welcome Miss Dreamer back.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. And thank you all for your incredible patience today. I'm just going to get right into it. Baby, can't you see? I'm calling. A guy like you should wear a warning. It's dangerous. I'm falling. There's no escape. I can't wait. I need a hit. Baby, give me it. You're dangerous. I'm loving it. Too high, can't come down, losing my head spinning round and round. Do you feel me now? Off the taste of your lips, I'm on a ride. You're toxic, I'm slipping under. Taste of a poison paradise. I'm addicted to you, but you know that you're toxic. Trouble. I have a chill in my womb. I have a child in my womb. Everything is masked up. The sea doesn't blow. The wind rivers the sea in the wrong direction. How will I get along with this man wolfing me? How will I get alone? He heard me. It never bordered me before what I got as a regard. We used the hardest language. We cast threats, will born in hell. Some of us fall by the waist side, and some of us soar to the stars. Do you remember how we used to talk? You know, we'd stay on the phone at night till dawn. Do you remember all the things you said? Like I love you so I'll never let you go. Do you remember? I bet you remember. 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 Catastrophic breakdown. The skin of every man, horse, woman has ever loved tastes like olives when she licks him, like the sea thereafter. There is nothing but the sea in the air. There is nothing but the spice that surrounds the sea in the air. She is fully oriented to it. There is no speed except her fullest. She goes without intention. She goes without food. She goes with her nostrils and eyes rimmed with the drying water, white, the horizon and sun white, the land mostly white, she black everywhere, except the whites of her eyes which flare against exhaustion. She goes with her ears and the iron in her hooves pointed to some shore, no distinction between the wind that enters, leaves her. All the air is warm. The sea smells warm. There is nothing but the sea. She goes in a land that is all salt, salty marshes, later white sands that may be salt. She goes with salt worrying her hooves. She is still at the shore. The water maintains a boundary. She has salt in her heart, tastes it, feels it pour out of her, must her flank, her riven and riven and riven heart mended again and again with her distilled desire for the sea. She finds some figure there indistinct from the water and becomes indistinct from the scene, her water or blood or the sea water indistinct from each other. Her riven and riven and riven heart, raw from mending and desire, recognizes its ability to break. This breaks her legs. She kneels to the sea, not to the figure, not yet. The sea draws close enough to put her forelock between its lips, and she says to the figure there, I submit to the sum and see of you, haven't you always had me by my forelock? So this next poem is written for Mohammed Al-Ghurani, who was a juvenile detained at Guantanamo for 7 years. He was about 13 years old when that happened. Was found, like so many, to be completely innocent. When asked what he wanted from the US government, he said an apology. But since you're kind of labeled a specter or a non-person in order for that kind of punishment and detainment to work, that's probably not ever forthcoming. And the title of the poem comes from a line in an interrogation where a female interrogator said, "Think of me as your mother." And so went in and searched my skin for marks, cuts, and bruises, verify my eyes, hair, toes, and knuckles are black. They removed the string from my hoodie so I won't make a noose of it. I'm too tired to laugh about that. They offer me rice. They say the rice is good and watch my face. They think they know Africans. I say nothing. They give me medicine, 2 kinds. I get free and yell, "I'm black! I'm black! I'm black, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black, and I've never been to a wedding." After the medicine, I keep seeing my black and yelling, "What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that?" They don't answer. A woman tells me to move it. She's pretending a toy keyboard is a lie detector. I bumped her hands, and now she has to start all over. After the medicine, I can see my black, and it can't stop talking. It says, "I'm not a demon. I'm a ghost. They're doing the wrong rituals on me. They took inventory of my keds, my dickies, but I'm still found without shoes or sheets. My chin stays bruised, and a sore in my mouth makes me remember my wisdom teeth surgery when I was 17, and I had my first Muslim doctor, and he made a mistake and gashed my cheek, and to keep from crying, he bid me to stop crying, even though I wasn't. They'd given me cackling gas. He cooed, everything will be okay. Everything will be all right. Everything will be okay. Everything will be all right. I screech, I love myself. In my best Kendrick voice, spin like my feet are arabesque. They shoot me. After that medicine, I stop rapping on tabletops and go to my bed. The mattress receives me. I think of dark hair on a soft belly. The blanket hugs me. I think of my baby sister sleeping on my mother's back. I stay in my bed all day and miss all my prayers because the bed says yes and yes. I want it to say no, so it's yes and yes is real. Can you rape a bed, sleeping stubborn in it, even if its springs tell you to get out? Tell my mother to bring me some grease and my pick and to hide my hot hair curler in her skirt. I already know my hair better be laid when I lie in this therapist's face and tell her I just got confused. They release me with 3 brown paper bags. All their handles break. They want me to look crazy in these streets, but I just hum-ba-doo in the parking lot and on the bus, break the high note, pack, light. Every city built by the water is way too turned. From Chicago to Istanbul, the thin caterwaul of stray felines from mid-morning to dusk, the geese that flew nowhere all winter holler in a knotted field at a devilish hour. Then there are gunshots, police cracking ribs, the volume is up too high in black ears. What do you do when a whole city is dog whistling? A woman curses her young son. His blink is blank. They face each other hard-eyed. They have trouble translating the Quran into English. Hell is the burning fire. Hell is pain of mother losing child. In many places on earth, both definitions hold at the same time. I took my medicine, both kinds, and don't yell out the window, rise, like dust in a Maya Angelou poem and the voice of a kid reciting it. Rise like Fela's consorts when they were tossed out the compound windows, or like Matai or Mandela or anyone whose knees or shoulders or skulls were clubbed in a dank prison. I wish I could take you into my belly. I think it's the only safe space for you. Come into my womb. You might find cinder blocks and mixed metal. You might find teeth and discreet ejaculations and rancid tears and salvaged bits of scripture. Come into my placenta, my electric water via dream submarine. I will throw the key into the ocean. I am infinitely generative. You'll find your grandson guarding you. When you're ready to leave, he'll call to you all the best. Goodbye. Goodbye. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home, a long way from home. Introduction through parables, Madwa. I was named after a well, my sister too, after holy wells distant from each other. We are distant from each other. Our mother didn't intend it. War is the frantic wet nurse running between us. We are both thirsty. We are all thirsty. There is no divine child to make our waters holy. Our waters heal no affliction. Who would supplicate at our bases, seek our waters? In parables, girls are never divine, only their mothers. But like Abraham, I ask God to show himself. I ask in the plains. I ask in the desert. He answers me with light. He answers me with metal, tea with an iron flavor. We sell it town to town, migrants in our own wild bush. Gunmetal sweat, weapon oil in the life and luck lines of my palm. We traverse the land. We move with shadow. We are guided by water. I ask God to show himself. A prophet courted birds and waited for God, yet another was given a hoopoe that spoke. Some have warbirds, they too look, they too make reports. We live in a time machines have emissaries, but like Abraham, it's not possible to destroy me. They try by fire and by sand, they try by metal and by verse. Still I traverse my land without a sister, with no family, not even a man who no longer accepts a hand on his chest when frantic. Myself, strange women, strange girls traverse in this parable. Men and boys attain godhood. They send war to run hill to hill, well to well. War runs so fast she loses a shoe. There is no holy child. War ran with empty arms, an empty shawl. When men and their boys come to a frenzy, they can't submit to anything. No thing is a kindness, nothing is a kindness. Don't touch me, don't look at me with their whole persons, and no one supplicates to frantic gods. Their command has no end. It can never become story. It can never become ritual. So I'm just going to read 2 more, and these are all newer poems from my second collection, Exiles of Eden, and they're looking at the Somali Civil War in particular. And though I know a lot of the images sound kind of surreal, a fair amount of it you can find relates to historical narratives or things that have actually happened, and things like that. And I should also say that any time that I'm kind of like singing or doing something sing-songy, that's of course not mine at all. And so the first was Toxic by Britney Spears. You Remember the Time by Michael Jackson. Then Laura Marling's What He Wrote. And the last was a traditional, spiritual, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. Probably this one is an excerpt from Nora Jones, which I'm sure all of you guys will recognize. And so I wrote this next poem thinking about the work that a parable has to do, that you're recognizing an image, you're using something in the world around us to recognize an image. And one thing that I've thought a lot is how human catastrophe causes people to have to wait. That you're just kind of waiting, and sometimes in a state of despair, sometimes not. And so that's something that I wanted to recognize in the traditional way of writing parables, which very often uses things in the material world or uses animals, and just wanted to make that distinction. That this isn't a parable about refugees, but it's for. And it's in recognition of that time and of that dismissal sometimes that people make. When I saw the break of day, wish that I could fly away, stared at kneeling in the sand, watching teardrops in my hand. 17 common flies clustered hallway, days. They no longer fly through the screen when ushered. Weak, to, from, light, real, artificial. Did they forget the sun? Fly towards faces, some dead on a sill, some walk. Did they forget how to fly? Why don't they go? One paces on a step. Do they wait for a shoe? It averts them. Goes. Why die? Still. Is it madness? The ones who waited. So this is the last poem. Thank you so much, Otterbein and Frank Museum for inviting me. Thank you to my former professors and mentors. I see a number of you there. And thanks to my family. I really, I appreciate that you're honoring me with your time, and I hope that I'm exchanging and giving back to you, showing that I recognize that. So this last citation will be Santa Gold's Disparate Youth. Don't look ahead, there's stormy weather. Another roadblock in our way. And if we go together. Our hands are tied here if we stay. Oh, we sent our dreams to carry us, and if they don't fly, we will run. Oh, we push right past to find out how to win what they all lost. Oh, I, we know now we want more. Oh, I forgot the last line. I actually really don't remember. Maybe someone can remind me later. Landscape genocide. I slept thinking of Lido Beach, how my mother walked there every morning when pregnant with me. I know the mineral scent of seawater wherever I am. If the sun bakes the metal of earth, if my own damp scalp sweats, if I hold my hennaed palms to my face, I have said, God, there is no God but God, into my metallic palms. When my blood started, war started. Ever since the war started, I dye a henna disc on each palm. I refresh it when it browns, old blood. God into my mineral palms when the whole street was white sheets, thin men digging graves, night till dawn, till night till dawn. They paused for every single prayer. I woke thinking of an orb of light. It dragged me through a dim street. It lifted me off my feet. I shouted, "This is my light," and held it tight against my belly. I was still, beyond known stillness, a gravity of my own, and still I didn't like the street. I woke thinking of Lido Beach. The last thing my mother promised me was a photo of her 5 months pregnant at the shore, backlit by the ocean. Go at dawn, she'd say. The water was warmest at dawn. At dawn, girls went to the sea in whatever they were wearing, even if they had school later. Their mothers couldn't keep them from the water, from walking fully dressed into it. I woke thinking there was nowhere to go but Lido, that the orb, a giant marble in my diaphragm, would float with me there. There was nowhere to go but into the sea. Between this interior desert and the sea at the edge of my known world, orange Pico-tinted sand, marked with the heels and balls of firm and dazed feet. Charred acacias, face down in the dust. Succulents marking clusters of graves, graves of people and fruit-bearing trees. Bones of tall livestock. The startling domes of camel ribs lit like a great hall by the relentless sun. There is nowhere to go but the sea. Between here and its mineral scent, bones of people, small and not small, bush lions and their young, always litters of bones at the line between known and wild worlds. Between here and Lido, the land in full prostration. The only song metallic, shells or whole bullets underfoot, sometimes whole piles at the edge and center of towns put face down, at night, at dawn, during afternoon prayer, at dusk. Between here and Lido, the land and everything in it, in full submission to the mineral scent of our water and blood and inability to cry anything, not even God, no God but God, we go at dawn.